So next up in the mini album then will be page 2 of the signature. So remember, our signature base pages are all the same. We're just going to embellish them slightly differently. So this was my idea with the page number 2 in the signature. I'm not going to do anything on here. I think the paper is beautiful and I'd like to just look at it like that. And then here's the other one, which we could either use like this, but I have opted now to have my flap go at the back, right? Okay, so we are now going to do a kind of a replica of what we've done here. I'm going to use this as inspiration to create this layout or insert. Okay, so instead of doing a build up here, I mean, I just cut out some things and clustered them together. I'm not going to do that because the bird's already I think embellishing enough on here for me. I'm just going to put a little bit of darker ink around the edges there. And then what I could do later, if you know, because that's what's so nice about this this kind of mini album, is that you can take the sheet out at any time and add a few things to it. I mean, we don't have to finish all of the inserts. We can always come back to this at a later stage to add some nice things because we can take them out the album. Okay, so my replica of this is going to be, the bird is going to be sufficient. I might later add some stenciling or some stamping here. We'll see how that goes. Then obviously, because my inside was so plain, I could get away with some really heavy embellishing and with doing this tag banner. So that's all it is. It's just finding a whole lot of little goodies, different sizes, and sticking them in. Then I've put this photo mat here. I will so this will hold a photo that measures 8 by 10, I think it is. Yeah, so that's a photo for an 8 by 10. So there's that. So because my inside is so busy, there's just no way that I would be able to repeat that process. Now remember, this is the holes that this is going into your album this way. It's going to fold over this way and then open up like that. So my plan for this one, I already have my little goodies. I have an idea over here. So what I want to do before I start is reinforce my spine. So I thought I'm going to use a plain one here, but I'm not going to put anything on this way. I'm going to show you how to make little reinforcers here. I don't think that's going to look nice. And on this one, you'll see I didn't do anything because I want to put the little reinforcers. I'll show you how we're going to make them. Okay. Right, so the first thing we're going to do then is reinforce the spine with a plain border. Right, so my thought process is then to break that pattern but not cover it up. So the only way I could think of to do it is to actually add a banner. So I'd like to add something in that's going to go over here. So it'll open up so I can still get all of this without having to cover it up, because look what happens when you cover it up. It's all just gone. If you don't want to see all the busy, then yes, cover it up with the greatest of pleasure. But I actually like the idea of being able to lift up and seeing what the paper has to offer. So my plan is to add a little banner like that. I'm going to stick it in before I lose it or it moves. So I'm going to attach it with some double-sided tape. I will apply tape to the cut edge of my banner, and I'll give you the sizes for it now. Okay, so this banner I cut 10.5 centimeters across, so 10.5 this way, and then it is 22 centimeters down, I then scored it 1 centimeter at the top like that, and then just cut a little tail into it. All right. You can make your banner as broad and as long as you would like it to be, as long as it fits into your page. So because I don't want, all the others we've attached over like that, but I don't want to lose this pattern and I don't want to cover it up with washi and stuff. I'm going to have my little attachment on the inside, and we can then close that up with some pattern paper later. So remove the tape backing from your banner, and I would like to attach it about 1/2 centimeter away from the edge, away from my fold. Okay, I'm going to bump the pattern and the plain up next to each other. When they are touching, I will open up my flap and get it down like that. That for me is the best way to get it in, so that it comes on straight and that I don't get it in skew and that I don't get it down. So it lines up nice and flush against the top like that. So we can then burnish that in place. I have already pre-cut and inked everything. It just makes life a little bit easier. Right, so I have 3 photos that are going to measure 5 by 7 across. So you need 3 photo mats that measure 5.5 centimeters across and 7.5 centimeters down. I want them to go over like that. Right. Then I cut this piece of pattern, I think it's 3 centimeters. 3 centimeters across and 18 centimeters down. And I think that is going to look quite nice over here. All right, like that. And then it just looked like it was a bit odd with nothing here. So at the bottom of our pattern papers, we have all these little, we've got the names for our pattern papers. I basically cut out all the ones that I liked. So we have a page called Beautiful Things. I cut it out and I'm going to use that as an extra sentiment in my layout. So I don't have to go type anything. I don't have to go dig through a sticker book. I just had to look at the bottom of the page and make use of all those little awesome little sayings that Louise comes up with when she names the pages. So that I think is going to look quite nice like that. And when I close it, we have this nice layer of patterns coming through. So it just reiterates some of the busy because of all the different contrasting patterns now. So I think that really looks awesome. I'm quickly going to stick everything and then we'll work on the back of this flap. So there's that all stuck in place. I just want to, when you are busy with your inserts and you are doing pages that have flaps like this and like this, you will see that I have moved my photo that the flap hides it. Because I think there's nothing worse than paging through an album and you have a photo that sticks out here and all you see is an elbow, a knee, an eye, or a nose. I mean, it just doesn't work. So I always like to make sure that my photos are going to be well hidden by the flap. And like I said, I'd like to use a bigger one here. So for me, I can add that bigger one to the back of my flap here, rather than having my photo put it like that. And there's an eye, a knee, or an elbow sticking out, and it just doesn't work. And also sometimes the colors then will mess up with my pattern. So that's just my preference. I prefer not to do things in a way where half a photo is sticking out. Right, so for the top of the flap, well, for the flap part now, I'm just going to use a standard size photo. I think I'm going to put it down the bottom here like this. And then I have cut out from one of the cut apart sheets just a little sentiment that says memories are priceless. And I'm just going to attach it on like that. Right, so there's that done. Like I say, I'm not going to rush and add too many things. The benefit of this is that I can always come back at a later stage and add a few extra goodies to this. I just want to take out that pencil mark. There we go. And over here. Right, so now I obviously don't want this big black piece sticking here. So I'm just going to add a piece of washi. I'm not sure if I want to add this one, which would just add to the busy of my page, or if I'm going to add something more subtle. I kind of like this one. So I'm going to add it like random. I don't want to do a solid like that. I'm going to put it from corner to corner like that. Just can bring it down a little bit, so that it kind of looks like it's the washi tape holding it in place. And I will tear that off and then add another piece like that. So it's just some washi tape layered, and it's so that it looks almost like roughly attached to the page. You see, like that. So it has a little bit of purpose. This little piece that's out here, we'll just rub that in. And if these little pieces bother you, and they bother me, we can just trim them off. Okay, there we go. So there we go. So that is the front of this one, embellished with my little photo that's going to go at the top. That's a standard 10 by 15. So the photo mat measures 10.5 centimeters across, 15.5 centimeters down. Right. So you can also go around and put your lines around this if you want to, but I'm not 100% sure that's what I want to do. So this one is now going to go in my album like that, but I need a little bit of protection, extra protection, I think, for these little ones. So the way I do that is I use a normal hole punch. I take the pattern paper that I would like to use. So I think I'm going to use the plains on here and the dotties on this one. Remember I said to you earlier on, don't throw those little pieces away. Right, so in the middle of this, I just punch a hole. And then I use a normal hole punch for that. And then I have this 1/2 inch circle punch. And then just line that up in the center. If you have a silhouette, you can just cut out what you want and ink them. But if you don't, but you have these punches on hand, then you can punch that out. And then I'll make another one. And we can just punch that out. Okay, so these become my little reinforcers that I can then just attach to the back of my page like that. I'm going to put those ones on there. And then the little dot paper that I told you earlier on, don't throw it away. I'm going to use that and make some little reinforcers for my other page. Find the center. Do the same here. There we go. So these ones are going to go on the back of this one over here. Okay, so I'm quickly going to stick those in place and I will see you now. Right, so there you go. I've added the little reinforcers to the back of that and to the back of that. So these are now going to go into the album. Now we've got more than one. We can start. So here's in my page, this is my, in my signature, this is page number 1. It's going to go over here. And this is page number 2 of my signature, number 1. Okay, so that goes there. Then in the second signature, this is my page number 1. And here is my page number 2. So you can get the idea of what I'm trying to explain backwards, just reversing what we've done. So on this page number 1, we did this on the front and that on the front. On page number 1, we did this on the back, and we've done this on the back. So the same format, we have the same format, we've just changed the details. So this is the insert for page number 2. And here is the insert for page number 2 for signature number 2. It just opens up this way and up like that. So let's get on with page number 3, which is just a standard photo mat. And I already have all the little goodies off to the side. I don't think I've inked these things. No. But here's my plan. Where did I put the photo mat? Here. Right. So here's my photo mat. And here's my idea for this. So on the front of my photo mat, I have this one. So on the back of this one, well, let's start here. For the front of this one, I'm going to do something like that. So I took this piece of pattern and I cut it out. Let's just see. I think I want it the other way. Yeah, so it's going to go in my album like that. And then I have this. So this one opens this way. This one needs to open that way. So sorry, it is the other way around. So I have this pattern paper going here, and I'm going to attach this Beautiful Moments to Remember is going to go over here. I'm going to show you how we use washi tape to get to open it. Okay. And I want to show you how I created the tab that is going to go over here so that we know to use this to lift and that. So that is going to be the front of the page. And then the back of this one, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to just attach a photo mat with a piece of pattern that runs across, and my butterfly, I'll find it in a bit. There is a little butterfly, there it is. That is just going to go on there. So exactly the same thing, it's just on the opposite sides. Right, so before we start with that, we need to attach the spines. Here, so I'm going to have a plain in the front and a dot at the back. So how I got this one in place in the right, to be sure that it's correct, I think this is the, no. I took one of the pieces that I had already cut 15 centimeters across, 22 centimeters down, and I attached my paper to it like that. And I'm just gonna, if I make get these holes in the wrong place, it's fine. I'll just cover with, no, I can't cover with this one. Let's, Right, to get the holes to be at the bottom and to line up properly without doing too much measuring, I used one of the full layouts, one of the full sheets, the ones that measure 22 centimeters down. And I have already found its center. So I just lined this one up at the back of it. I made sure that it was flush at the bottom and flush against the side like that. And then where that center mark is, put that in my punch. Oops. Hold that in place again, right? Then found my center, slid it into the punch, and made a hole. Okay. I went on the wrong place because it was supposed to be this way, but I'll just cover that up. Right, so now when I have it in my album, it's going to be down the bottom instead of in the middle or to the top. Well, you could either way. So we could easily put this one back in here. So this is the one that I've done. This one could go down the bottom like that. And what we could do is we could change the orientation of this one and have it at the top. So one up and one down. Just depends what we want to do with it. So I think we'll do that. I will use this one as my up. Just to change things up and to make it a little bit more interesting in the album. Okay. So let's see. I think I'm going to stay with it, my original plan, and one of the others I can do the other way around. Okay, so we are going to replicate the front of this one on the back of this one. So that's quite easy. We're just going to add a little bit of ink around the edges of this. Okay, so I want to replicate the front of this insert on the back of this one. So it's easy to tell my holes need to be on the left here, and my holes need to be on the right here. So this piece I think measures 8.5 across and 15.5 down. So that's going to be attached over here. So that's your photo mats. We're just going to use some glue to stick that down. So this class is really more about, focuses more on embellishing than actual construction. And we can do this because we don't have to, because we can create such simple base pages to slip into the A5 little album, lever arch file. Okay, so we're just going to get that lined up nice and straight. Use my glue to burnish that in place. And then this one, I'm only going to put a little bit of glue across the center here because it's going to go in the middle of my page like that. And I want to put a photo here and here, and possibly the photo will tuck underneath. And I'm going to put my little embellishment in the middle. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there for now. Okay. I can use this page to find where my center is going to be. Like that. And then, like I said, just a thin layer of glue down the middle, which will allow for my photo mat to tuck under, my photo to tuck under the little strippy that goes across. So I can just use this as my guide to find the center for this page. So this little strip that I cut is 8.5 centimeters across and 1.5 centimeters down. Okay. Make sure I've got that on straight. And then just burnish that in place. And we can then add the butterfly. We can add it to the sides, but I'm going to stick with the center. more or less. Right. So there we go. That's the front and the back. Now I want to copy the back of this one onto the front of this one. And again, as long as my holes are this side and my other holes are this side, I am all good. Right. So a similar effect, but a little bit different. So I cut this pattern paper also to measure 8.5 centimeters across and 15.5 centimeters down. It's just one of the cut aparts that comes off one of the cut apart sheets. It looks like a ticket. I just cut some of it off over there because I want to use the roses to help create part of a cluster for when my flap goes in. So I'm wanting the flap when it's in my album, in my album, I want it to open out. I don't want it, if I put it back into the album for you, you can see. So if I have this piece in here and I have this here and I have my goodie that opens here, this is going to restrict it. Okay, and it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't want that. I want to be able to open my little flap and have it lay flat so I can see exactly what's going on, okay? Especially if you want to write a message in it, because this is perfect to write a little journaling something in here. So now you're going to have this up here and you're going to have to struggle. So I would prefer to have mine opening out this way, but it's not wrong to have it open up the other way. So what I want to show you quickly is how I make these little tabs. They are also a lot of fun. So you just need any little strip of pattern. Okay, they are about 2 centimeters wide. Yep, so 2 centimeters, and I know I cut them 2 centimeters by 5 centimeters. That is a comfortable size to be working with. So I'm just going to measure and cut this piece to 5. Right, so 2 centimeter strip by 5 centimeters, and then just fold it in half like that. Make sure that you get that fold line nice and smooth. So I like to burnish it in place like that. And then you're going to need this little hole punch again. So again, I just slide it in so that I'm using 1/4 of the punch and just punch it. And the same with that side, slide it in so that you've got about 1/4 of the punches being used and punched like that. And there we have a nice little tab that we can add to any of our goodies to be able to use them as the turn is. Okay, so I've already made the one that I want to use for, I'll keep that one because I'll use it. I've kept the one that I want to use on here. So it is for me just a little bit too long. I'd like to have it go on over there. If I put it on with the size that it is, it's going to cover my beautiful moments. So then maybe we should put it down the bottom. That might be better. But I would like to trim it just a little bit. I think I'm going to cut it to 2 centimeters. There we go. I think the little tab needs to be slightly shorter. So I will cut that to 2 centimeters. Then just ink the edges. And then I have my Tim Holtz tiny attacher that I'm going to use to attach it. I'm going to attach it to my sheet. I will open it up and I'm going to have one go in the front and one at the back like that. And I'm going to use the tiny attacher to just attach that to this piece like that. Okay, so that now gives me a little piece that I can use to turn. This piece I'm going to attach to my piece of cardstock now because I need that stuck in place to be able to do the next step. So we'll put that in place nicely like that. and then just burnish that in place. And I'm going to draw a line around the edge now before I carry on with my washi tape. Like that. Right, so now I want to attach this little flap, and I'm going to use a washi tape hinge. So you need to choose a piece of washi tape that you like. I think I'm going to use this one. For this page I used this one here, so for this side I'm going to use this one. So I always suggest that you work on a non-stick mat or somewhere where the washi is not going to come off of, and then just attach it. So I don't want to cover up the sentiment too much, so I'm going to put it on like that. So it's just catching, and tear it off. I don't need it neat. So I've got it on like that. And then you need to find where you want it to be on your page. Remember, I need to be sure that I'm not going to cover the whole. I need to be sure that when I open it, it's going to still sort of be on the page. And I would very much like for it to look like the flowers are sticking out. So I can bring it over just a little bit more this way. And bring it down just slightly. I wonder if up here, down just slightly. So that looks like, I can even bring it over just a little bit more, like that. That looks like a good spot for it to be. So I would keep that in place and then just attach the washi in the middle. If you need a little piece of it to come off, which I think I do, I'm just going to tear it off. I don't want to go on too neatly. And I'm just going to tear that little piece off too. It's also gone a little bit too high for me, like that. So now I then like to fold this little piece over. If you don't want it to show on the back of your photo mat, that's fine, then just cut it off. But I know that my photo is going to cover most of this anyway, so it's fine for me. There we go. So now you just need to burnish that washi in place, and there where it is against your little piece of pattern, just work it in. I then take my scissors, I open it up, I take my scissors and snip it where it's lifting, like that, and then just work that little piece flat. So now you have that. So we have our little pattern paper is opened up, the flap is open. I have a piece of washi there and a piece of washi there. So there we go, there's that piece, that washi tape hinge is created. But I need to make sure that it's not going to tear or come apart, so I'm just going to put another washi tape hinge across over here. So we can change directions with this one. That's what's so nice about this one. Okay, so I'm going to attach my washi over there like that. Try and get it down this more or less the same length as the one underneath, like that. So I'm going to really get it going here in the middle. Lift up my washi tape and get that hinge moved in. Open it up. And again, snip the excess piece of washi there so that we can release it there. And again over here. Oops. Okay. And then just work that washi tape down, work it down there, and there we go. We have a very useful, decorative, easy to make washi tape hinge. And that just adds a little bit of extra interest to the page. So I'm just going to put my lines around quickly, and I will see you now. Okay, so that's done. For this one, I created a little ticket corner, and on this one now I've kept them straight. So there's all those little details you can add and take away to make the page the same but different. Okay, so we've used the same format, we've just changed one or two things, and we have a really different outcome. I don't think I got any ink on here. No, I did. All right, so there we go. So now this is going to be your page number 3 in your album. Okay, so we'll go to the front. So here's our signature one, and now we can pop in this one over here, right? So, and here we go again. There's signature 2, and we can pop this in over here. Now remember, you could have also done it that it's at the top like that. But I kind of like the way this now works nicely with this. So totally different pattern, totally different concept, but look how nice next to each other they look.